Hey, everybody. How you doing? What's up? Well, welcome to the very first episode of the year of Talk with Antonio. It's me, Antonio. Wow. It's been a while since I've been here. Before I get started, I just want to say that I know it's a little late, but I will say it nevertheless. I will say that I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. Hope you all had a great Christmas. And especially a great New Year. But lo and behold, yeah, here I am. And before I get started on a lot of things that we'll be talking about, what's coming in the coming year in regards to my podcast, I just want to say, first and foremost, I want to apologize to the people that do listen. A lot of things happen. I did record, but something happened. Life gets in the way. I did record. I was supposed to record. I think it was like my very last episode, if I can remember correctly. It was the. I was supposed to talk about the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight, and we all know how that shit happened. That's something I was gonna record, but after seeing what happened, I have no desire to listen to it, you know what I'm saying, and talk about it per se. It was stupid. I hated it. And Jake Paul winning, I don't know. If Mike Tyson would have been in his prime, he would have fucking beat the living shit out of that guy, of that so-called boxer. I just can't stand that guy. Him, Jake Paul, and Logan Paul are two dudes in my eyes, and this is not jealousy. I'm not being a hater. I'm just being a realist when I'm talking about those guys. Jake Paul is a YouTuber. He is not a professional boxer. He did not train since he was, in my opinion, if you want to be a boxer or a wrestler or whatever, you have to train from the time you're a little kid up until you go to in startups. Like, for example, wrestling. If you're training as a wrestler, you go to wrestling school, you go to the independent circuit, then you get hired either in WWE, which is the big one, AEW, TNA, or if you go to Japan. Logan Paul is one of them. That motherfucker didn't even go to training. Everything was just handed to that guy. The same thing with fucking Jake Paul. They don't deserve anything that they have. And I'm sorry, but well, for whatever. I don't want to talk about those two fucking punks. But in terms of my podcast, yeah, I did record afterwards, but I was just not happy, and I deleted it, and I just got off the bandwagon. And my girl said to me, "How can you have recorded?" And I told her the truth that after the very last episode prior, I did record, but I just was not happy with how everything turned out. So I just deleted it. I just didn't really pay attention anymore. And my girl said to me that I'm too hard on myself. And yes, she is right. She's absolutely right about that. But that's just the way I am. I don't agree with a lot of things what happens in my recording. When I do edit and I listen to what's going on, I just nope. I don't like it. That's how I feel. I don't like it. I just deleted it. But when I deleted that episode, I said, I'm going to get back to it next week. Then following week, next week, I just stopped. I just didn't have the, I just kind of lost the spark per se, that I just didn't feel like it anymore. And I just kept putting off recording but also other things, life gets in the way. Like my job, that takes a lot of time, because I always wake up, I go do my delivery driving job. I have other things. And, when I'm done, I just want to come home, and I go to the gym afterwards. I just want to come home and just go to sleep, shower and go to sleep. And also, when I just kind of, like I said, I just stopped caring. I'll be frank. I just stopped caring. I didn't want to record anymore. But eventually I had a long talk with my nephew, and he said, "Hey, just get back. Forget stock." Me and my nephew, we had a long conversation. And he said something that really, really made me think a lot. Yes, I do study other podcasters. I do study other famous radio hosts. And yeah, I will say that I kind of do listen to them, and I just kind of like, I try to compare myself to them, you know? I can never be like any of them, you know? And I cannot be like any of those famous podcasters or radio hosts. And my nephew said to me, Uncle, you got to stop comparing yourself. Just be yourself. Just do what you got to do. And as soon as he said that, it really made me think a lot that day. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, I do have that thing. I do compare myself a lot to other people. And my nephew said, you should just stop doing that. Same thing with my girl. She says the same thing. She says, stop comparing yourself to other people, honey. And you know what? Yeah, both of them are absolutely right. I just got to stop comparing myself to other people. I just got to do my own thing, just be myself, and just, you know, just keep doing what I'm doing, you know? And yeah, today is February 20th, and yeah, I'm absolutely happy that I'm back recording. Like I said, right now I feel like I'm rusty, but I will get back into it. And for this year, I will say this now. I will be trying to do more interviews. And yes, I will be doing more interviews about in my podcast. I have contacted other people, and hopefully things will go right, because I'm not gonna lie to you. In the past, with my old podcast, even with this current one that I have emailed people, including returning guests. Some of them have only one returning guest has returned. Her Angie, which is, hey, shout out to you, Angie. Excuse me, and shout out to you, Angie. You were like the only the returning guest that I interviewed for my podcast. I love you dearly, my friend Gilbert, and other people, and the other guests that I was supposed to be interviewing. Stuff happened. Like, for example, I was supposed to be interviewing this chick, and what happened? Okay, put it this way. I was supposed to be interviewing this person, and I did interview her in my old podcast. We were talking about wrestling, and I did interview her, and I was supposed to be interviewing her again. We just did not have any dates per se, and I was supposed to be interviewing her, but I don't know what happened. And I will say this, that this person is just the biggest starter of drama. She like this. She just posted all this weird shit on her Twitter page, on her TikTok, about stalking and all that bullshit. And yeah, and I don't know what happened. And I guess I don't like to start drama per se. I just, I was just trying. I thought I was helping her out, and yeah, she blocked me. And I've seen her picture. I mean, her Twitter page and Instagram. Oh, Jesus Christ, on a taxi cab. It's just filled with drama of people stalking them and blah, 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 blah. I just, you know what? I believe that life did the biggest favor in the world. That I'm not supposed to be interviewing that person. I'm not even supposed to be associated with that. And yeah, and a lot of people, and also other people that I try to interview, and I emailed them, and they said no. They just said no. I just, okay, fine. And I'm starting to like expand other horizons, because this podcast right here, I will be interviewing, besides talking about wrestling, I'll be talking about other things like with anime, sports. With next year, with next year for 2026 in summer, the FIFA World Cup is going to happen here in the United States, Mexico, and Canada. It's going to be a huge event. I will talk about other things like interviewing with people about mostly about the paranormal, about things about Halloween Horror Nights, etc. That's what I'm trying to focus on this year for my podcast. And also, like, for this year, another thing that I will say this, I was supposed to record last month, but something happened here, and it's, while I did not record, something happened here that really, really hit hard. Was the fires that happened in in the Palisades, that fires that happened in Pasadena and Altadena, etc. Man, those were hard times. A lot of people in Malibu, in Palisades, it looked like a fucking war zone. Fires destroyed everything in the Palisades. Like, for example, I forget, I think it was on Sunset Boulevard. The Gelsons, the Ralphs burned. Everything burned down. I saw pictures of it, and I saw a person that I knew there. I went to their house years ago in Malibu, gone. And that to me was, whew, it was pretty shocking. It was the fires that happened here in Southern California were bad. And talking about that, look, I'm not a conspiracy theorist because I don't believe in that nonsense. There's been a lot of conspiracy saying that the fires were started on purpose. Well, in reality, I firmly believe that we will never know what really started the fires, honestly. But people say that there has been an article that came out in Yahoo that they believe that the fires were started somewhere in the mountains, that someone was lighting firecrackers and all that stuff. That's the theory that people talk about. But when the fires happen here in Southern California, because California is a blue state, and there were all, especially like these crazy MAGA nuts, maggots, because that's what they are, maggots. We're saying that the fires were started and it was a punishment from God to California. Like, when people say that, I will not. I can't. I won't lie. I was pissed off. But you know what? It was strangers. But the one person that really, really let me down when she said that I thought that was fucking insulting, was my ex-sister-in-law. I still love her. Don't get me wrong. I still love my sister-in-law. But when she said that the fires that happened here in Southern California were a punishment from God, I was fucking offended when she said that. And I guess I said something in Spanish, and she really took offense to that. And she said, and she even called me for the first time ever in my life. She called me by my first name, because she always used to call me for other things, but never my first name. But when those words left my lips, she really took offense to that. But it's the fucking truth. Why, especially people who are extremely religious or people who are this cult they call MAGA, say that just because we're a blue state that God punished California? Give me a fucking break. I was really offended by that. But you know what? They're people. They live in this little weird bubble when they say that. And look right now what happened. There's a hurricane in Georgia or the Carolinas. What happened now? And also, what happened on January 20th? This guy came back into being the quote-unquote president. And everyone knows what I'm talking about, that fucking orange turd. I'm not even going to talk about that guy right now. He's on the back burner right now. I'm focusing right now on my podcast, and I just want to say I'm just very, very happy right now talking here on the microphone. And let's see what the year brings. All I can say is to all the people, the other podcasters, and who have everything going for them, I just want to say thank you all, because you guys have inspired me also to come back to record. Like, for example, Jason Solomon. Shout out to you, Jason. I'm nothing compared to him. He's like a top of the line podcaster. He's a very well known guy, and I listen to other podcasts, and they've inspired me to come back and record. And I ain't gonna lie, it feels great to record, people. So I will be back next week, and we'll be talking about, I'm not gonna say what it is. I will say what the subject will be about. If you can find me on Twitter, which I still am there. You also can find me on Blue Sky. Same thing, Talk with Antonio. You can find me on my Instagram, Talk with Antonio, and also TikTok now. It's Talk with Antonio, which right now I have to update it, since right now it's no longer banned. It actually came back. So please bear with me, folks. I will be updating everything right now, but mostly I'm mostly active on Blue Sky. You can find me on Twitter though, but Other than that, I will talk about the next week's subject. I will announce it on my social media pages. You can find me there, either on Blue Sky or on Twitter, Talk with Antonio. Same thing with Instagram, Talk with Antonio, or even on TikTok, Talk with Antonio. So, yeah, that about wraps up for this week's episode. And let me say once again, it's great to be back. And I just want to say I want to apologize to the peeps that do listen to me. Thank you all from the bottom of my heart. And I will see you back next week. Thank you. Have a great evening. Good night.